Welcome to the CTA Foundation CES interview series. My name is Steve Ewell, and I'm the Executive Director of the Consumer Technology Association Foundation. And I'm really pleased to be joined today by Erin Lauridsen, who's the Director of Access Technology at Lighthouse for the Blind and Visually Impaired. Welcome, Erin. So happy to have you here.
Thanks, Steve. I'm really glad to be here today.
Well, first off, for those that don't know about the Lighthouse, can you share some of the work that you do?
Sure. The Lighthouse is based in San Francisco, California. We've been around since 1902, and we do a number of things. In Northern California, we're very focused on making sure blind people can learn skills, find community, and live full and happy lives as people who are blind or have low vision. Beyond that, we are focused on facilitating technology innovations and accessibility, and just amplifying blind culture and blind voices, both locally, nationally, and globally.
Well, and that's one of the things I've loved working with you and the Lighthouse on is just the amount of engagement that you're doing, certainly there in the San Francisco Bay Area, but even beyond that, helping to make technology accessible. This year, the CTA Foundation was thrilled to support the Lighthouse, and specifically we were looking at how you can help reach more of the Spanish speaking community, as well as reach into more rural parts of California. I know the pandemic had different ideas for how this year might go than we were initially planning, but can you share some of the ways that you were able to adapt and continue to deliver some of the trainings and services this year?
Absolutely. We're so grateful for the CTA Foundation's support of this work. We're always asking ourselves in the digital literacy training work that we do, who aren't we reaching yet? Who's not in the room? And this year we had identified the Spanish-speaking community and rural Californians as communities that we needed to serve more and do a better job of making sure people are digitally connected and have the access to technology that they need. Our original plan was a couple of immersion retreats because we really find that community and peer support is a big part of getting people comfortable and across the digital divide when they can be with other people who are learning and have learned the same things that they're trying to master. Obviously, the pandemic has changed course a little bit. And so instead of having these in-person retreats where we can get people started with their technology with some hands-on training, we had to figure out how to do everything virtually. And so our initial hope was that people would come together and learn skills, and then that would bring them into ongoing virtual community once they went back home. What we've had to do is kind of the reverse of that. We've started with some community sessions where we're just teaching very basics of technology, exposing people to even the fact that there are screen readers and magnification that can make devices easier for them to use, exposing them to voice assistants, just sort of starting with that basic awareness as people dial in on their landline phones, connect on their kids' devices that kids are using for school, or some folks are already using Zoom and are able to connect themselves. So we've started just kind of with that basic awareness. Then folks are having some one-on-one training so that they can get to the point where they can connect to a Zoom meeting, get an email, find information, those sorts of things. And then starting in February, the Spanish-speaking group will be meeting 3 times a week for a whole month to do that immersion part of the training that we had initially planned. So it's similar to what we started out to do, but we've just kind of had to flip the cadence of it and start with sort of the casual conversations and then the one-on-one training, and then move into the intensive training afterwards. But it's all being done virtually. And the biggest challenge is to reach rural Californians, some of whom don't have stable internet access at home to participate.
Well, those are some major challenges to face, and it's really exciting to see how you've overcome them and continue to build the community and build the connections. I think that is one of the biggest challenges we've seen across the country is when you're teaching people how to get connected, when you're having to do that when they're not previously connected, it makes it a much harder challenge to do during the middle of this pandemic. So really appreciate all the work that you've been able to do, and certainly reaching into communities that don't have access to good broadband is a challenge that we see across the country as well. Um, in addition to all the services that you're providing, you're also doing a lot of work with companies in the Bay Area as well as beyond, as they're designing their products. How are you able to work with these companies and help them make products that are more accessible for all of us?
Yeah, that is an exciting piece of the work that we do. And we are really focused on supporting companies who want to go beyond simple compliance and design products that are accessible from the ground up. So we do a few different things. We have some trainings that we do for developers and designers to give them a deeper understanding of the access technology tools that blind and low vision people use, so that when they're designing or when they are working on compliance, they have an understanding of how their design and development choices really affect users. So we have some really fun trainings that we're able to do. And fortunately, since they involve a lot of screen reader and magnification demos, we have been able to do them remotely using screen share over Zoom. We also do design consultation and functional accessibility reviews where we come in. Everyone on my team uses access technology themselves. And so we can come in with an awareness of accessibility best practices and walk a company through how their product works with our access technology and talk about how it can be better. We also have a database of end users who are blind or have low vision, who are just your average folks who use products. And so if a company does user testing in general, they might be tempted to eliminate the complexity of access technology from that user testing, but we encourage them to put it back in, and we help facilitate those learning sessions, because a company can learn a lot and really put their product to the test by working with users who are blind or have low vision.
Absolutely. Well, and it's important to get that, quote unquote, average users experience, because, yourself and a lot of your team are real tech experts in the ways that you're doing it. And I just know people in the community are really good about finding the workarounds and making things work, whether they really should or not. So being able to get that broader perspective of average users that may not know all those workarounds and be able to provide where the roadblocks are that they can continue to improve upon, I think is really important to those discussions. So that's great that you're doing that and being able to engage the companies and help them.
That's so true. I don't think I quite realized how many workarounds I personally use as a screen reader user until I started teaching other people how to use screen readers, which is another fun part about my team, is kind of how those two aspects of what we do merge, because I'll think, oh, I can figure this out. But when I think about the person who is an English language learner or an older adult who's coming to this app or to this website, here's where they might get stuck. So I love how you sum that up. There's definitely a focus in making sure that we think about the whole spectrum of users with disabilities when we're designing.
Absolutely. And I think that's also one of the important reasons why, we've been lucky enough to get you to come to CES the last couple years and participate and meet with some of the companies and have discussions about, what's working, what's not working. So, while we're at CES digitally this year, I do think it is important to have those diverse viewpoints as we have conversations about things like accessibility and other topics around technology. can you share what are some of the benefits and connections that you've been able to make by attending CES and being a part of it?
Sure. Yeah. I have been in person twice now. And for me, the thing that I enjoy most is just being able to get my hands on a lot of products and see how they're designed, because things like button layout, tactility, ergonomics are important to me as a blind user, and when I think about other blind people. And so in the in-person shows, it's for me, it's just been a lot of, walking miles and miles on the show floor, making my fitness tracker very happy for a week, and just moving around and getting my hands on as many products as possible. But while I'm doing that, the other really big part is just awareness for companies. I've met so many companies at CES who have great products, but just aren't yet thinking about the fact that people with disabilities will be using those products. Not out of any sort of intent, but just it hasn't been on their radar yet. And so I feel like so many of those just brief exchanges that I've had at the show have been about, I'm a consumer, I'm a blind person, I'm a business professional, I want to use this, this will be great. It will have a big impact, and just being able to raise that awareness and then have those follow-up conversations and see those products continue to develop throughout the year.
Yeah, well, I'm always excited to see where those conversations end up going. And being here digitally at CES this year, we're going to see a lot of announcements of products this week. We're also going to have a lot of conversations about what are some of the technologies that we'll be seeing in the next few years that are just emerging now. Are there areas of emerging technology that are particularly of interest to you right now, or that you're particularly excited about?
Yeah, I don't know that the areas have changed for me in terms of what I'm usually interested in, but there's just a bit of a different spin on it after the year that we've had. I know that telehealth will be a hot topic, and I've always had an interest in that, in terms of people with disabilities being able to access equitable health care, and sometimes, eliminate a transportation barrier or an access barrier to getting that care. But I think this year, the rest of the world knows how important that is. And so I'm excited to see the growth in that area. And then always kind of one of my passions and interests is audio and tech around sound and audio and high quality audio. And after this year, where the best connection I've had with everyone is through whatever headphones and microphones we have at home, I am really interested. I'll be scouring the show for anything interesting in terms of consumer audio and telecommunications, and anything that can just sort of enhance these virtual connection experiences that we're all having in this current season.
Well, I can tell you there's a lot of content focused on digital health and telehealth, and high-end audio, home, even home office like audio technology are going to be big parts of the show this year, as we look at all the different types of consumer devices that are helping people stay connected and stay engaged, whether it's at work, at home, or at play. There's really some great opportunities for technology to be that connection. So I can't wait to see some of those announcements as well. If people are interested in learning more about the Lighthouse, or even getting involved with your work, where should they go to get more information?
Yeah, our website is Lighthouse SF, SF as in San Francisco, lighthousesf.org. And there's a contact form there where folks can get in touch and find all of our social media presence as well.
Well, that's great. Thank you so much, Erin. It's a real pleasure to talk with you. And I am so happy to have you back at CES this year, and look forward to the chance when we can all get together in person again here soon. So thank you again so much for joining.
Likewise. Thank you for having me, Steve.
Well, and for the audience, if you're interested in learning more about the CTA Foundation, you can go to ctafoundation.tech, and otherwise have a wonderful CES 2021.